Hello and welcome to ISOM424, IS Strategy, Management, and Acquisition. Hi, I'm Professor Dominic Thomas. Some of you have probably taken a class with me before. For some of you, this will be our first time meeting. Either way, I look forward to a great class. I want to spend a little time here introducing you to what we do in this capstone course, because it's a little different from what you've taken before. The kinds of skills and responsibilities are different too, and the way that I assess the outcomes is different. So in order to do your best, I need to get you to get into a different kind of mindset. Let's look at that a little closer. In your time here at Suffolk, you began in your freshman year, or perhaps you transferred later, and so you began in your freshman year somewhere else, with really basic types of skills and topics. You took writing, you took math, things like that. You had defined problem sets, lots of individual grades, canned projects and cases. By that I mean the projects weren't with real clients, and they had really defined topics and outcomes. The cases were set and used semester after semester. The professor knew exactly what the outcome should look like and what a perfect solution would be. So there was limited scope. The timescales on these kinds of problems fit neatly into course schedules, and the skills expected at the outset were either minimal or very well known and simple, so that you could do everything easily and with full confidence, regardless of how much you brought into the course. That's structured. And gradually, as you moved through 4 years of college, you began to specialize and develop more advanced skills and more specific knowledge, leading to where we are today, mastering through application in the senior year. This process scaffolds. In other words, it builds on top of each layer to enable you to take these skills and ideas and build them into your deeper knowledge that you can use after graduation. And the way that you'll be able to do that is learning how to reapply your skills into all sorts of different contexts. Another way to say that is by building your ability to deal with ambiguity. One of the best ways to do that is through targeted practice. Practice that puts you into experiences that are less defined, partially defined problems, complex problems and cases that require group input and coordination to complete, timescales that may span multiple semesters, so that we don't know at the end or beginning if we're at the end or beginning. We just have to do our best and do as much as we can, like in the actual work world. Skills might be unknown in problems like this. We might have to acquire them in the process of doing the work. Many of our prior skills should probably be useful, and we'll have to think back and recover those skills and apply them. We're going to have to be self-reliant and capable technologically in order to approach these problems. So we need the foundation of prior course skills to draw on. That's where we are today with the capstone. Let's make it a little bit more tangible. Let's look closer at the kinds of courses that I expect within this capstone and that I build into the experiences we're going to have. So when we get to the IS capstone, there have been 4 required IS classes and 2 required OM classes that you've already taken. So in the major itself, we have our Systems Analysis and Design class, our Intro to Programming Java class, and our database management SQL class. Those classes I expect directly to be of value in our capstone. The kinds of problems we'll approach, the kinds of behaviors we'll be engaging, will require the kinds of thinking and knowledge that came from those classes. Some of the electives you may have taken, like web design, project management, mobile development, those types of classes too have an impact on what we can do, how far we can go in our projects and work this semester. But I don't expect everybody to have taken all of them. In fact, some of you will have taken one or none of those classes, and a few people will have taken 3 or 4. Deeper down, in say your sophomore year, maybe some in your junior year, you will have taken some of these other classes. You will have taken ISOM424. That's a class where you learned about algorithms in operations at businesses, that we can actually calculate an economic order point, and that kind of stuff could be built into management systems using Java or databases, things like that. ISOM424, Data and Decision Analysis, introduced you to this idea that business and data can go hand in hand, and that there are patterns in data that we can actually capture and actualize to do really cool stuff and help people's work lives and productivity improve. ISOM310, now called ISOM210, Intro to Management Information Systems, puts together a more synthetic view. In that course, you should have gotten this idea that computerized systems provide a structure that can use those algorithms and data to make management logic accessible and more effective. That these unstructured contexts out in the work world and organizational world can be structured and managed, and that kind of job is of high value today. And again, you may have taken other electives, some anywhere. In fact, down in our School of Art and Design, you might have taken drawing. You could have taken something in journalism or anthropology or psychology. Could have taken others in the business school, in human management or other kinds of nonprofit management or finance. Those kinds of electives too might be really valuable for us in this capstone, because human behavior, design, ways of thinking about money and finance, all of those kinds of things get built into systems analysis proposals. They get built into discussions. They matter to management. And so some of those things may be very valuable too. If we go down to that very deepest layer, we'll see that even the very foundations you took here at Suffolk. Now, I've got the new curriculum here. Some of you may have been in an older curriculum or a different curriculum at other schools, but it should be fairly similar. So the courses like Marketing 220, Marketing Research, Accounting 201 and 202, Financial and Managerial Accounting, those kinds of classes give us a sense that organizing our work world in areas like marketing and management and accounting can make a big difference in terms of our productivity and effectiveness. It affects how people trust each other. It affects how we reach our consumers. But we can't do that today without effective systems at the enterprise level. So you can imagine how IS capstone courses like ours draw on those deeper understandings. As we deal with data and finding algorithms within it, all the way back to your stats and math courses, there's applicability there too. Continuing along that beginning path, you see C&I, that's creativity and innovation. ISOM424, systems analysis and design, that whole vertical too requires an entrepreneurial mindset, an understanding of diverse global and local perspectives, an understanding of how to be creative and keep trying to problem solve even when things are complex and difficult, and how to convene those dialogues. We need those skills too. Those are all the foundation that lead into where we are today as we begin IS Strategy, Management, and Acquisition for this capstone semester. Let's look a little closer at the kinds of skills and ideas in this course. These are unique things. So, as we look at each, there are certain kinds of behaviors implied here. First of all, I'm setting up this course to really enable you to step into various kinds of IS contexts, whether it's management consulting, like some of our students who are going to Wellington Management or Deloitte or some of the other companies that we've targeted to expand our hiring around here, or into more of an IT context, working at HubSpot or EMC, or some of the other kinds of systems analyst and designer type positions where you'll find yourself. This course targets you to be valuable on day one and confident to start being part of the discussions and interactions you'll have. The largest idea you need to set in your mind on this note is that system structure leads to behavior. Let me show you an example. This example comes from a recent documentary on public broadcasting covering Michael Pollan's work on In Defense of Food. Let's watch a little snippet here and then discuss a bit.
Thanks for coming for lunch today. Like I promised, it's a free lunch. Okay, so let's go on, let's get started. One thing that I've learned, having done hundreds and hundreds of studies related to eating behavior, is that to a person, we believe we are master and commander of all of our food decisions. But we're not. We make over 200 decisions about food a day. And the majority of these decisions are basically unconscious to us. So grab a plate up there. The pasta's right on the stove. Serve yourself up.
Brian Wansink is an expert on eating behavior. He's discovered we're often not aware of why we eat as much as we do. Sometimes it's because of something we don't give the slightest thought to, like the size of our plate.
We'll bring people in, we'll give them a large plate to serve themselves, but what they don't realize is that the pasta is cold.
Wansink concocts an excuse so that everyone has to get a different plate, which is slightly smaller.
These things weren't the right temperature. So I'd like you to come back and just grab another plate out of the cupboard there. And one of the things we find is that they'll serve themselves a second time. They won't believe they served an amount any different than they did the first time. Did you guys notice anything different between the first time you served yourself and the second time you served yourself?
It feels a lot smaller. It looks smaller.
Oh.
So here's one thing we found. The size of a plate tremendously biases us in terms of how much we serve.
The smaller the plate, the less food people take.
And you serve 4 ounces on a 9-inch plate, you go, holy cow, I'll never be able to eat that. So let's take a look at what happened to you guys. Now, so the big plate, 207 calories. The smaller plate, it dropped down to 162 calories. Whoa, that's about 40 calories, 400. If this happened 3 times a day, over the course of a year, by using a smaller plate, you'd end up weighing 9 pounds less.
Wow. So let's think about this for a second. The big idea here is that system structure leads to behavior. So what's the example? The researcher here who runs a marketing and brand behavior research group tells us right at the outset, people think that they're in control of their decisions, but they're not. In fact, the hidden structures they encounter in their life cause their behavior in ways they're not even able to control. So when they had the bigger plate, think of that as the structure, invisibly it impacted their behavior. They took more food, and that led to consequences. If they did that every day, every meal, they'd have 9 more pounds of weight per year. Wow, that's intense. Well, we can take this idea and spread it to other things in terms of our design behavior with systems. The way we set up experiences in managing enterprise systems will lead to the outcomes we get. If we fragment people, they'll optimize individually. They won't work together. If we set up their user experiences inside of their interfaces that we design to be confusing and have tons of different clicks and difficulty, they won't use it. That may sound very simple, but it's a revolutionary idea today in terms of enterprise systems management. We are responsible for the ultimate experiences people have, whether they're productive or not, whether they're, think of it as work healthy or not, whether we're enabling them as much as possible. This is one of our big ideas. It's a foundation. We'll explore it as we attempt to create and deploy systems, because it's not easy to balance and design all these pieces, and it's not always obvious what the bigger plate and the smaller plate are. Which one's better, which one's worse, and why. Let's move forward. Another big idea is that enterprise systems management is complex. As I said just now, it's not always obvious which piece is better or worse in terms of the plates and the structure. But there's a lot more to it. You're looking at our course diagram here on the right. On the left, you're looking at a dialogue that came in late at night on a Monday, right at exam time, from a student in ISOM424 working on some of the project work in the course. And you'll see that he just crashed the main site that everyone's using. He's sharing it through an app called GroupMe. I'm part of the discussion, so this is a shot from my phone. And you can see that he solved it within 5 minutes. So he had a failure that really took everything down, and then he fixed it. That's an important mindset. He didn't think that what he was doing was going to destroy what was going on, but there was a complex interaction happening. Well, as we manage information systems, people, process, and technology are going to work together, and they're going to create complexity that we have to manage. Some of these questions I've hung onto our course diagram illustrate key questions that leaders in IT have to confront day to day, workers in IT have to engage and solve. Issues of process, whether they're owners, who are they, where are they, what do they care about, what should we change, reinforce. Those are those systems decisions about structure. The policies and norms, the secrets, again, that's all structure, the process. The technology also sets up, it's a place where we embody the structures. Do we know what all of our technologies are? What do we have? That's in IT Infrastructure Library, ITIL. That's one of the major standards today. Can we upgrade? Will it cause a problem? Just like Alex experienced here, he ran an upgrade, it crashed the site. Do we have a safe architecture so that you can try stuff like that? In fact, when he did that, it was only on a dev server, so it didn't take down the production server. What should we get rid of? Are things legacy systems that are holding us back? Can we upgrade? On the people side, do we have the skills we need for the new kinds of technologies coming out? Who do we promote? Hire, fire? What do we need? How? When? Who's really in charge? Are there people who are hidden who really are keeping things the way they are? Do you ever think about why the U.S. still has pennies? It's because there's a group of senators from Illinois that don't want to get rid of this highly used coin that has President Lincoln on it. It costs more to produce the pennies and use them in society than they're worth, arguably, from an economic standpoint. But Illinois likes the advertising. Lots of complexity there. All of that comes together when we deal with information systems. Ultimately, we have to balance all of this in decisions about cost effectiveness. We have to build our evidence bases. We have to think about security, safety, liability. We have to figure out what's unique here. Could we outsource? What's the evidence for that? Who are the stakeholders here? Who hates what we're doing? Who's a champion? All of that comes together. We balance it. And ultimately, if we're successful, our systems are going to lead to our companies, organizations, to competitive advantage. That's what this course is about. Now, there's no better place to experience this than right here at home. So part of what we'll do in this course, and what you see in these pictures, is ISOM424 class visiting our ITS managers. In fact, this is Anupam Singh, our Chief Director of Network here at Suffolk. We're in the server room, we're in his office, we're seeing some of the things here at Suffolk so that we can get a closer idea of some of the real technology issues and management issues happening. I'm going to work to keep that kind of experience in front of you in this class so that you've got tangible experiences to draw on. Some of you will bring those experiences from work too, and we'll try to make that visible so that you can share with each other and grow your knowledge base. That leads us to another of the big ideas. In order to make changes with this kind of complexity and knowing that system structure leads to behavior, we're going to have sustained engagement and effort. In other words, it's not going to be a simple project. It's not going to be a canned outcome. It might fail, but we're going to try and try again. Each semester I work to bring projects to this class that are real. Right here you're looking at a project that's already been through a couple semesters of ISOM424 student effort. In the first semester, the students were able to figure out requirements and convene a discussion among the leaders of the Center for Catastrophic Risk Management at UC Berkeley. That led to the second semester, where students worked on building out and deploying an enterprise web system that would fit their needs. You're looking at the development server of that system in this screenshot. Even after 2 full semesters of work, this thing's not done. By the time you watch this video, this project may be over, or it may be you're in the semester that takes it one step further. Or you might take a different project one step further. You might start a brand new project for the first time. But those efforts are part of that sustained engagement that leads to real, meaningful change that can lead to competitive advantage for a real organization, dealing with the complexities in enterprise systems management. This is another project, and here what you see is a first dialogue. On the left side is our CIO at Suffolk. On the right side, you may not recognize him, he's wearing a tie. He's our Chief Marketing Officer. This is the first time these guys have spoken. We convened that dialogue as part of a project to work on our web systems and policies here at Suffolk to lead to, ultimately, much more effective deployment of resources at the enterprise systems level. Again, this project's ongoing. It's not done at this point that you see in the picture. How many more semesters will it take? I don't know. But as we run these experiences and processes, we get a view into enterprise systems strategy, management, and acquisition, the core of this course. And specifically, that change requires the sustained engagement and effort. The final idea here, and perhaps this one is the easiest for you to get at right off the bat, and so you're going to the first one that you'll experience is this one. You need key skills and knowledge in order to make a difference in this kind of setting. Now you've gotten some of that already, but I need to add to that in this course. So I'm going to introduce you to the key things that this course is going to add to your knowledge. We're going to get you onto a true enterprise system framework called Drupal. You see these 2 running drops up here with the 7 and the 8? That's the logo for Drupal. In fact, the Drupal community, the largest, most active open source project community today, just went through a major change. A new version, 8, just came out last semester on November 19th. And, well, it might not be last semester by the time you hear and see this video, but that was November 19th of 2015. We're going to learn Drupal 7, but we're also going to learn about Drupal 8, and it causes a huge headache for some companies to move from 7 to 8, but it also offers a lot of opportunity in the consulting world as well as in the technology for real business systems that enable competitive advantage. So we're going to learn about that, and I want you to learn about it hands-on. So you'll have personal experience with it. You'll be hosting Drupal on your own laptop. I'll need you to bring a laptop to class. And we're going to interact with Acquia, a partner for this class. Acquia is a major enterprise Drupal company. They just happen to be 2 blocks from us, and they've been doing a bunch of neat stuff. So we'll use some of their tools. They put out a free tool, actually, that enables you to do some of this Drupal work right on your laptop. In order to do that kind of thing, enterprises have to have tools to deal with the complexity as well as the deep details in technologies. Systems administration primarily runs through shell scripting, and the born-again shell, bash, as you see the logo here, is something you may not have ever used before, but I need you to at least know the basics of it and be comfortable with the idea that it exists and know how to access it. One of the main tools that runs in bash is called Git. Git is a source code control tool, and you can see the octocat here. That's the symbol for GitHub, the major code repository on the web. We're going to learn and experience both of these tools because they're the main ways that companies today can manage one of their most valuable resources, code, in a complex and changing environment to make sure they don't make mistakes and everybody can be productive. And this is a big deal for companies. And so I want you to have those key skills as you become capable at enterprise level strategy, management, and acquisition. So, where do you begin? First, the free textbook is up in our site on Blackboard. It's called Beginning Drupal. Jacob Redding is a colleague of mine. He's the open source lead at Accenture, which is a major consulting company. He ran the Drupal Association for a number of years and wrote this textbook and provided to us free use of it as a PDF, so I've got it uploaded there. It's pretty much a how-to manual. As you work through the first 10 chapters, you will create and deploy a Drupal site on your own laptop using Acquia's free Dev Desktop environment, which is a Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP stack. We're going to talk about it more. You're going to learn more about it. But before we even begin class, you could go ahead and start working through those chapters. It took me about 7 hours to do it all. It will take you probably 5 days of working fairly consistently. Looking further down here, I'm going to want you to install Git on your laptop and have it ready to use. Now, Git's already on Macs, but there are a few things we'll be able to do to actually extend that. Smit Patel recorded a master lab on this topic. You can watch that. You can see the link here. It's on our Panopta CourseCast server. I think you can just log in with your credentials here at Suffolk, but please contact me if that doesn't work, because we may have to get you added to the server, and then you can see it. It's just an 8.5-minute tutorial. It's actually not a great master lab. It's not as long as I expect in the syllabus, but it's something, and it'll give you a sense of it. In the syllabus, take a look at it. Notice that every individual needs to make a master lab. You've got a whole list of the prior master labs in there, and here's a URL you can use to take a look at some of those and see. There's some really cool ones. Some of them are done really well. Some of them are not done very well. If there's one that's not done very well, that's an opportunity perhaps for making it better. Take a look at those. There's even a master lab by Perry last semester about how to make a master lab. And that one's actually done pretty well. So that about wraps it up. Welcome. I look forward to a great semester, and I hope you'll contact me and let me know if you have questions or run into any trouble trying to deploy Git or install the Dev Desktop as we go forward. In fact, I think there might be a Dev Desktop tutorial. I think there are a couple of them. As we move forward, we're going to make it easier and more effective to be more knowledgeable and technically savvy through our master labs and the work that we do in this course here at Suffolk, here as IS majors, and here in Boston and the larger world community for the organizations we help. Looking forward to meeting everybody. Take care.